Perfect, so let's get started with today's Klipfolio 101 webinar. As I mentioned, my name's Val Hamilton. I'm the Digital Marketing Specialist here at Klipfolio, and I'll be taking you through today's demo. Covered in today's Klipfolio 101 demo, we're going to be going over two different topics. So the first is a Klipfolio demo. This is where we're going to spend the majority of today's webinar, and that's in the actual dashboard itself. So the main purpose of the Klipfolio 101 webinar is to get everyone comfortable with actually building out clips and dashboards in their own account. So today I'm going to look at the three different ways that you can actually build in Klipfolio, and I'll demo all of those for you. Then at the very end, we're going to look at Klipfolio resources. So I usually like to spend the last 2 or 3 minutes just quickly going over 4 specific resources that I know can help expand your skills inside Klipfolio and help make you better at dashboarding. Excellent. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the 3 ways to build in Klipfolio before we actually jump into the product. So the first way to build, and the first thing I'm going to go over inside Klipfolio, is our dashboard gallery. So this is the first way that you can actually get started in Klipfolio. Now, our dashboard gallery basically holds pre-built dashboards that you can add directly to your account. So these are 2 examples of dashboards that you can find in our dashboard gallery. And basically what you can do is click one button to add an entire dashboard to your account. The dashboards will be added with what we call sample data. So you'll see it's just going to be fake data in the dashboard until you actually connect to whatever services that dashboard uses. So I'll show a nice example of a dashboard gallery dashboard today. The second way to build in Klipfolio is with what we call the Klip Gallery. So similar to the dashboard gallery, all the items in the Klip Gallery are pre-built. So again, you don't have to do any building yourself. The difference here is that instead of getting an entire dashboard, now you can actually go through over 60 different services and pick the individual metrics that you want to add to build out your own dashboard. So again, in here, you'll add the Klip to your account and then just connect to whatever services that Klip uses. So again, I'll show you a couple examples from our Klip Gallery today. And the third way to build in Klipfolio is with what we call a custom build. So again, this is what makes Klipfolio so powerful, is not only do we have the pre-built metrics that can get you up and running really quick, we also give you the ability to actually build out your own clips from scratch. So we know that each business is different, and you're going to want to monitor different things, and you're going to want to visualize it different ways. So today I'm going to show you just a really simple build. I really want to just get you familiar with how the Klip editor works. So this is a nice screenshot of what the Klip editor will look like when we get in there. Perfect, so this is where I'm going to just exit my presentation here really quick, and we're going to head on over to the dashboard. There we go, so again, hopefully everyone can see the dashboard. So now that we're inside the actual dashboard itself, I want to first do a quick tour of the dashboard, just in case this is your first time logging in. So what you're going to see at the very top here, this is what we call our dashboard tab. So you're going to see this nice navy blue line here. That's where all your dashboards are going to live. So in our account right now, we have 2 dashboards. Now these are dashboards that are automatically included in everyone's account. So when you first log into Klipfolio, this is what you're going to see. So the first dashboard that is included in your account, what it's going to do is it's going to actually pop open a tour. So because I've gone through the tour, it doesn't pop open anymore. But again, when you first log into Klipfolio, you're going to see a tour in this dashboard here. The second dashboard includes 4 clips that gives you a bit more information about Klipfolio. So you can see here we have more info about data sources, clips, and dashboards. So if you want to read articles on those, you can do that from here. We have a clip that shows helpful resources. So this is another great way to get to those resources directly from the dashboard. We have a popular articles clip. So this will actually pull in articles from our knowledge base. So we have a fantastic knowledge base that our docs team works really hard to put together and to update. So these particular articles are great, especially if you're just starting out with Klipfolio. A lot of these are more beginner articles, so to help get you up and running in Klipfolio. And then lastly, we have our tutorial clip. So this is another fantastic clip, and I highly recommend everyone take the time to actually go through it. Basically what this does is it'll take you through a demo of how to actually make this particular clip that you see here. So I recommend building this out. I'm going to build something similar to this in my custom build, but you'll see some different examples here that you won't see in my demo. So again, I highly recommend you take the time to build that out. Excellent. So right above our dashboard tab, you're going to see a few buttons here, and these are really important. So the first one I want to mention is our our theme button. So what this will do is pretty simple. It allows us to actually switch the theme of our dashboard, so we can use the dark theme or the light theme. And again, all we have to do is just hit that button there. Next to the theme button, we have the full screen or TV mode option. So when you press the full screen or TV mode option, basically what it does is it pushes your dashboard into a full screen mode. So you can see that the big menu that we had before is no longer there, which allows us to view the dashboard a bit larger than we did before. So the clips are enlarged a bit, and it's easier to read. So this is really handy, especially if you want to display your dashboards on a monitor. A lot of people will use the full screen mode. Now, when you're in full screen mode, you can access your dashboards that are on your dashboard tab with the drop-down menu here, so just that down arrow. So these are the two dashboards that I had open. And you also have the ability to actually rotate through dashboards while in full screen mode. So if I press this play button here, what it will do is actually rotate through any dashboard that I have in my dashboard tab. So remember, we just have two right now. And it'll rotate through them. By default, it'll take every 10 seconds, but you can actually update the time in your account settings. Excellent, so I'm just gonna exit full screen mode. Next, we have the My Dashboard tab. So basically, the My Dashboard tab will bring you right back to where we are here. This is kind of like the dashboard homepage, as I like to think of it. So if you're ever in the library user section, you can get back to your dashboards just by clicking the My Dashboard tab. So the library tab basically holds all of your dashboard's clips and data sources. So anything that you've built in Klipfolio, so dashboard, clip, or data sources wise, is automatically stored in your library for you. So I can easily navigate through my dashboards in the dashboard section here. And again, when I'm in here, I have the ability to select one or multiple dashboards, and then you can see I have a few options up top. So I can delete dashboards from here, and this will actually delete it directly from your account, so you won't have those anymore. And I can share. So this share option here, we use group. So sharing with groups is actually probably one of the most popular ways to share inside of Klipfolio. So any users that you have in your account, you can actually create groups for. So I can have 10 users in one group, 5 in another. For example, here at Klipfolio, we have groups for every department. So it makes it really easy for me to share all my data. Usually I just automatically share it with the marketing team. So in here, again, you can share. Because I'm in a trial, I just have this trial group here. You can change the rights that they have and the visibility as well. And then you're going to have the same type of options in your clip and data source libraries. So again, these are all the clips I've created. I have those same share and delete options that we did before. And then I can also add this to a dashboard right from my library here. And then lastly, data sources. So again, these are data sources I've created. I can share the data sources with those groups. I can delete them from my account. And I can also do a queue for refresh as well. So the queue for refresh basically will allow you to manually refresh your data source. So you can see here the last time it was refreshed. And this will just depend basically on how you set up the data source. So you'll have the opportunity to say how often you want each data source to refresh. And again, you can come here and update those. So that's the library section. So now heading over to the user section. So in Klipfolio, if you're an admin, you're going to have this user tab available. So in the users tab, I have the ability to basically make some admin type changes. So I can add users. So right now I'm in the users sub tab. So I can see all the users in my own account right now. I can come in here and over to the right, I can add users, and I can also delete them from my account as well. Now the group sub tab, so as I mentioned, sharing with groups is one of the most popular ways to actually share data in Klipfolio. And this is how you do that. So if you're an admin, you come into the group section here, and you can actually start to create those groups and put different members in those groups. And then lastly, we have the roles tab. So in here, we show you our 3 default roles. So these are the roles that are in everyone's account. But again, if you're an admin, you can always come in here and add your own custom roles from scratch as well. Alrighty, so that's basically the quick kind of tour I wanted to do before we start building. Now, for those of you who joined us a little later, today we're going to be looking at the 3 ways to build in Klipfolio. So the first thing I'm going to look at is our dashboard gallery. So if I want to add a dashboard from my dashboard gallery up here to my tabs, I'm going to head on over to the right of my dashboard tab, and you're going to see this blue and white plus button. So this will actually allow you to add a dashboard to your dashboard tab. So when I press that, you're going to see we have kind of a pop-up. So this gives us different options to get started with a dashboard. Now, as I mentioned, the first way to actually build is with our dashboard gallery, and that's available right here. So you're going to see 3 of our dashboards from our gallery in here. If you click the More button, it'll open up a new page, and this is actually our dashboard gallery page. So if I scroll down, I can see all the different dashboards available in our gallery, and you can add them to your account just by pressing these blue Get This Dashboard buttons. So you can actually add them to your Klipfolio account right from this page as well. So I highly recommend adding this page to your bookmarks. It's a great place to come back and see all the new dashboards that we add. So our goal is to add new dashboards each and every month to that gallery. So today I'm going to use the Social Media Command Center dashboard for my example. So what I'm going to do is whenever you decide which dashboard you want to add, you're just going to click on the name. So I'm going to click here, which now you can see has generated my Social Media Command Center dashboard. So as I mentioned, anytime you add a dashboard from the gallery, it's going to add it in sample data, with sample data, sorry. So right now this isn't my actual numbers, it's sample data, because we haven't yet connected to any of these accounts. So I'll show you how easy that is to do. But first I want to show you this top clip here. So this top clip is kind of like a legend that will give you more information about each of the dashboards. So this one in particular, it'll show you what the green and red arrows mean. It'll also show you, a full rundown of the actual dashboard and some other important info. Now, once you're done with this particular clip, so you probably won't always want it in your dashboard here, you can easily remove it just by clicking the menu button and by pressing Remove from Dashboard. So it'll remove that particular clip, and now we have our Social Media Command Center dashboard without the legend clip. So now that we have this, we're probably going to want to connect to the different services so that we actually see what our numbers are. So in order to do that, you're going to hit the Connect Your Data button. It's going to take you through all the individual clips to actually connect them. Now, this particular dashboard is different from a lot of the others because this one has, you can see, many different services. So we do have to connect to all of these. But once you get down to a clip that uses the exact same service, so Twitter and Twitter, I'll show you a bit later how easy it is once you've made a connection once to continue to add clips from that same service. So let's start by pressing Connect Our Data. This will start us off with our first clip here, and that's a Twitter clip. So each service is different, but I'll just show you an example of how this works. So in order to do this, we're going to want to connect our Twitter account. So I'm going to hit this big blue button here. That's going to pop open this secondary tab, and you can see that this is where I come and I basically just log into to Twitter. So I'm going to log into the Klipfolio Twitter account, and then I'm going to hit Authorize App. So by authorizing the app, we'll actually be able to pull in data from our Twitter account. So now you can see that I have my token created, so I've successfully connected, which now I'll hit Next Step. Now, again, each clip is different. For this particular one, we have to enter the Twitter handle that we want to track, but without the @ symbol. So I'm going to just hit Klipfolio, and now I can press Update Clip. Perfect. So now you can see that the clip is updated. We see that our actual Klipfolio account is connected, and we can see our follower number. So now I would usually hit Next Clip, and again, I'm going to go through that for all the different services. Now, because this will just take a couple minutes, I want to kind of skip through that. And let's pretend that it brings me down to this clip down here. So again, because this is a Twitter clip, once I get to this clip here, it becomes a lot easier. Since I've already connected to Twitter once, you can see what happens. So it automatically remembers the Twitter account we connected to, so I don't have to do anything here. So now I can hit Next Step. And it automatically remembers the Twitter handle we chose. So again, I just have to hit Update Clip. And that's it. So it shows all of the recent 3 clips, or 3 tweets, as well as how many retweets and likes that we've had. Excellent. So that's an example of a dashboard from our dashboard gallery. So again, I highly recommend taking the time to go through all of the dashboards, try adding some for yourself. It's a great way to get instant visibility into some of your metrics, but without having to build your own clips from scratch. Now, the second way to build in Klipfolio is with our Klip Gallery. So what I want to do here is show you how to add clips from a Klip Gallery. So what I'm going to do is, instead of adding it to this dashboard, I want to start with a brand new dashboard. So I'm going to hit the plus button again over to the right to add a dashboard. But this time, if I go over to the left, you're going to see we have an option to add a blank dashboard. So I'll do that, which basically just gives me a nice new dashboard to work with that doesn't have any metrics on it yet. If you want, you can always rename your dashboards just by hitting the menu button and pressing the rename. So I'll rename this one as Klip Gallery. And again, now it gives me a nice clean slate to work with. So let's say I wanted to add clips from the Klip Gallery to this dashboard. What I'm going to do is follow this nice big arrow here to the Add a Clip button. So I'm going to hit the Add a Clip button. Now there are different ways to add clips to your dashboard, but as I mentioned, the second way to truly build, so to bring new data in, is with our Klip Gallery. And when you hit the Add a Clip button, you're automatically taken to the Klip Gallery section. So you can see that that is highlighted here. So as I scroll down, we can see all the different services that are found in our Klip Gallery. So right now we have over 60, but again, each and every month we try to add new services in here. So I'm going to show you a few different examples today from our Klip Gallery. The first one is going to be from a service called Talkwalker. Now, I like to show Talkwalker in the 101 webinars because, first of all, they're a tech partner, and they have some really interesting clips in here. So they're a leading social listening analytics platform. And the real reason I like to show this in the 101 webinar is because in Talkwalker, we have 2 bonus clips. So you'll see this is our first clip here, the sentiment clip. Under the label, you'll see the bonus clip kind of sentence down at the bottom. So anytime you see this, add a clip, so bonus clip, basically it means you don't have to have an account set up with that service, so we don't have to have a Talkwalker account. Any single person can add a bonus clip to their dashboard. So it makes it basically the easiest clips to add because, again, you don't have to log into a service, and it's great because everyone can add them. So today I'm going to show you the sentiment clip just to kind of show how a bonus clip works. So anytime you choose the clip you want to add to your dashboard, so I want this one, you're going to hit the Add to Dashboard button. And then again, similar to our dashboard gallery, it takes us through the process of adding this particular clip. So for this one, it's asking for the company name we want to track. So I'll type in Klipfolio for this one. And then it's asking for a time zone. I'm going to leave it as is, but you can see all the different time zones available. Perfect, and that's it. So I'm going to hit Add Clip, and there we go. So you can see now this clip added, which shows the sentiment for Klipfolio over the last 30 days. So this shows the amount of mentions that we've had on a day-to-day basis. But not only that, it's really cool because it also shows the sentiment behind those mentions. So you can kind of unhighlight here. So we can look at what mentions were positive, which mentions were neutral, and then which mentions were negative. So again, it's a really, really interesting way to track your performance. And another reason I love this particular clip is because, so if I hit Add a Clip again, I can add this again to my dashboard. I can add as many times as I want, but this time I can track a different brand. So that's what's awesome about this clip is that instead of tracking Klipfolio, I can track Apple. So let's say Apple was your competitor. You can make a whole dashboard that shows all your different competitors using this clip. So I'm going to hit Add Clip. And now you can see, so this one looks a lot different than ours. So we can see, volume of mentions for Apple, and then again, whether those were neutral, negative, or positive. So really, really cool clip, and again, just a great way to get started tracking sentiment. Now there's a few more clips I want to show in the gallery, so I'm just going to go back to the main gallery page. So the second one is going to be from, let's say, Google Analytics. So if you're a Google Analytics user, you can come in here and add some pretty cool clips to your dashboard. Now let's say I want to add this audience metrics clip. So again, I'm going to hit the Add to Dashboard button, but you'll notice it's not a bonus clip. So you do have to have the Google Analytics account because we're going to have to connect. But I'll show you again just how easy that is. So this is the same as that Twitter clip was in our dashboard gallery. So in order to connect, we're going to hit this nice big blue button here, where again we get that secondary window pop open. So because I'm already logged into my Gmail, I don't have to put my email or password. I can just click on my account here. If you're not logged into your Gmail account, you'll just have to log in just like you're logging into Gmail any other time. So you'll add your email and then your password underneath. And then you're going to select your account. And again, we're going to authorize Klipfolio to pull in this data. So I'm going to hit allow. And same as before. So now you can see that we have that successful connection made. So I can go to the next step for this clip. So for this one, we're going to have to select different accounts. So you can use the drop-down, which makes it really easy. So I can look at all these different sites that we have set up with our own Google Analytics account. Pretty easy. And then I just hit Add Clip. And again, each clip just takes a second or two to load. And then you get this awesome Google Analytics metrics clip, which will show you great data for your website. Perfect. So these are some good examples we've gone through. Let's just do one more. So again, I'm going to hit that Add a Clip button. This time I want to show you an example from Salesforce. So I'm going to select Salesforce. And again, Salesforce we have a lot of great clips for as well. So if you're a Salesforce user, I definitely recommend checking all these out. Now the one that I want to highlight here is this conversion funnel clip. So the reason I like to show this clip in the 101 is because it's a great example of what we call a mashup clip. So a mashup clip means that you're using two or more different services. So this is cool because we're looking at Salesforce data alongside Google Analytics data. So that's how we can actually make this conversion funnel clip here to show users all the way down to wins. So let's say I wanted to add this to my dashboard. Again, not a bonus clip, so we know we're going to have to log in. So I'm going to hit the Add to Dashboard button. And this is really why I wanted to show this, so this reason here. So when you when you connect once to a service, it makes it so much easier to add clips afterwards because, again, it automatically remembers the settings that we have. Now, one thing here to remember is I get a lot of questions of, can I connect to multiple accounts? Absolutely. So you can actually always use the drop-down menu here. And if you don't want to select the account that you have, you can hit Connect New Account. So you can make a totally new Google Analytics connection and have that available in your drop-down as well. Now for this, we would have to connect to Salesforce. Now, again, it'll show you here what you need. So basically, you need a username and password. Now let's say I don't have my own Salesforce account. Maybe you use Salesforce at your office, but you don't have your own login. So you'll probably have to ask your sales team to either create an account for you or just lend you whatever login credentials you need. So right now I can't finish this clip. But instead of hitting X and losing the clip I wanted to add, what I like to do is hit Connect Later. So this Connect Later button, again, really handy, and I highly suggest you use it whenever you can't finish connecting or maybe you're having trouble. Use the Connect Later button. Basically what it does is it adds the clip to your dashboard, but instead of using your own data, again, we have that sample data. So this is the exact same as what we saw when we added our dashboard gallery, our gallery dashboard. So these aren't my particular numbers, so this is just sample data, but it's a nice placeholder, which will then allow me to come back anytime. And if I just hover over the sample data text, it turns into a Connect Your Data button. So when you press that, it brings you right back to where you were before. So then, whenever I get the Salesforce data I need or credentials I need to log in, I can finish that process. Perfect. So those are the three examples I wanted to show. We looked at some nice bonus clips here, clips using sample data, and then building clips all the way from start to finish. So now you have a good understanding of how our dashboard gallery works, how our clip gallery works. So this brings us to the third way to actually build in Klipfolio, and that's with a custom build. So what I want to do here is, again, I'm going to add a new dashboard for my custom clip. So I'm going to use that same plus button, and again, we're going to use that Add a Blank Dashboard button here. So this will give me a nice new dashboard to work with. If you want, you can always rename it. So this one I'll just rename Custom Build. Perfect, so now I have a nice clean slate to work with. So anytime you want to build a clip from scratch, you can go through it this way. So you can hit the Add a Clip button. But again, instead of using the Klip Gallery, which is what we're brought to, I'm going to use the Build a Custom Clip button at the bottom here. So when you use that Build a Custom Clip button, what it does is it takes you through the process of actually building out a clip from scratch. So the first step in building out your custom clip is to choose the visualization you want to use. So these are all the different visualization components we have in Klipfolio. You can see we have tables, funnel charts, gauges, the list goes on and on here. So lots to choose from in terms of visualizations. Now, just to give you a little bit of context, today I'm going to be building a bar chart, and we're going to be using a sample data source that shows how many visitors and visits I have coming to my site. So just, again, I want to keep it simple, but also informative. So today I'm going to choose the bar and line chart option here. So that's step one. So now that we've chosen a visualization, now we have to pick a data source. So basically, what data do we want to use to build out this clip? So there's different options here. If you don't have the data source you want to use yet, you can actually create it within this process here. So you can create a new data source using the top button here. And again, there are so many different ways to create data sources in Klipfolio. You can upload a file, so we support Excel, XML, JSON, and CSV files. You can use what we call our connector gallery, which has basically pre-built queries for over 100 different services to pull in data from, again, 100 different services to build out your own clip. Or you can use popular services like Google Drive, Drop, and Dropbox, or an email attachment. So again, I highly recommend checking out the documentation we have on building data sources because there are so many different ways to actually do it. So option two is to use a data source from your library. So remember, anytime you basically connect to a data source or create a data source, it's automatically stored in your library. So we can use it over and over again. So if you have a data source already, you can use option two. Or the last option is to not use a data source at all. So if you don't have a data source you want to use and you just kind of want to start building, you can use this option here. It'll get you started in the clip editor. You can start building out your clip, and then it'll give you the option to add a data source later on. For today's example, I'm going to use a tutorial data source, so something that I have in my library. So I'm going to select option two. And within here, I'm actually just going to type in tutorial, and you can see it pops up. Perfect, so I'm going to select my data source here. And what that'll do is bring us right into the clip editor. So as you saw from the screenshot earlier on in the webinar, this is where we do all the work to actually build out our own clips from scratch. So we're in the clip editor. Just to give you a bit of a tour, in the very middle here, this is what we call our clip preview. So once we start adding data to our clip, you're going to see the bar chart start to appear. You'll see text change. So this is basically where you can preview what your clip looks like. You can also change the size there. Now on the left-hand side, this is what we call our component tree. So I like to think of this kind of like a table of contents. So basically it's showing you what is making up your clip. So we have the clip itself, and we have a bar chart that we chose, and within that bar chart we have a series, an x-axis, and a y-axis. So again, the component tree is a good way to kind of understand how your clip works. It's also a great way to navigate around. So I can get to different levels just by clicking on my component tree here. So you can see how things start to change. Anytime you click on a component, it'll be highlighted in blue, so you can see exactly where you are. So our bar chart's highlighted in blue. When I click series, you'll see that my label up top is highlighted. Perfect, so that's the component tree. On the right-hand side, we have our controls and our component palette. So the controls, the lower button here, basically depending, again, on which part of the clip you're on, will allow you to edit different things. So because I'm within my bar chart, I can control different parts of my bar chart. So I can add multiple series just by hitting the plus button. And again, in our preview, you can see how that builds out, as well as our component tree, so you can see those new series added. Now, if you want to get rid of those, you can do the minus button, or you can always remove components just from the component tree here. The controls will also allow me to add multiple y-axes as well. Now, above our controls, we have our component palette. So basically, this is all the different visualizations that we originally had to choose from, as well as a few others. So let's say in this particular clip you wanted to make it super fancy and maybe put a pie chart in. So what you do is you click and then you drag and drop. So I can actually drag and drop a pie chart into my current clip. Now when you do that, it gives you the option to put it either above or below, so you can't put it side to side. So there I can drop in a pie chart, and again, I can start editing it in my componentry here. Now we're just going to stick with the one bar chart for now. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, oh sorry, there's one more thing I need to show, and that's the bottom part here. So this is really important. This is where you're actually going to make the edits to your clip. So you can see as I click along the componentry, these tabs will change. So the tabs will change depending on what you can actually edit at that level of the clip. So at the high level, the clip level itself, basically I can edit different properties. If I go down, again, at my bar chart level, I can edit properties, but those properties are different. As I click down, this is where you're going to see a difference. So not only do I have that properties tab, now I have my data tab, which means that at this level of the clip, I can actually start pulling in data from my data source. So again, those will change just depending on what section you're on. So now we're going to start editing this clip, and anytime I build a clip, personally I like to kind of work from the top down. So I'm going to work at the very top first. So at the clip level, basically here I can change different properties like the clip title. So I can name this one maybe custom clip. And again, you can see in the preview how that changes. I can change the size of my title. So if you want to make it larger or smaller, you can do that. If you don't want to have a title at all, no problem. You can also take that away using this button here. So that's probably all I'm going to do here. I don't want to really make too many changes to the title. So I'm going to move down to the next level. That's the bar chart level. So at this level, I can change the size of my bar chart. So maybe I want to make it large. So it'll be a bit larger than what we had. I'll show legend, and I'm not going to stack my bars, but if I wanted to, I could always do that. So I'm going to move down to this series, and this is where we get to now start working with our data source. So it gets pretty fun. So right now I'm in the properties section, so let's see what we can change here. So I'm going to keep all this the same. I'm going to keep it as a bar, but you can always change it to a line graph. So just in case you want to make line graphs, you can kind of edit how that looks here. Leave it as a bar. So now I'm going to label my series. So I already know that this one is going to be my visitors. So I'll put that in as a label. I always like to show the values on the chart. So I like to have the number right above the bar. Sometimes I find it hard to really understand the number when you just see a bar chart. And then, you know what, I'm going to override the default color. So if you want to change the color, you can just hit override default color. So our default color is blue. And then if you hit this color here, you can see a few different colors. You can hit more options. You can see a whole bunch of colors. And you can even put in your own custom HTML color code. So let's say I'm going to do gray. So pretty boring, but I'll keep it as that for now. So I'll hit finished. So now that I'm done in the property section, I'm going to head on over to my data. And this is where I'm going to work with my data source. So we'll see our data source here. You can see the data source label at the bottom. So another thing about Klipfolio that's really powerful is that we can, again, build those mashup clips. So if we want to build a clip that uses maybe like 5 or 6 data sources, once you're in the clip editor, that's when you can do that. So you can come over here and you can hit add data source, which basically brings up your data source library. So you can start pulling in stuff that you already have. So really, really cool. I'm going to stick with just the one data source for today. And then we have our formula bar. So it's similar to Excel. Once we start selecting data from our data source, you're going to see it come alive in our formula bar. We have hints underneath the formula bar. So again, once you really get familiar with Klipfolio, you're going to want to use these hints. It just makes it a lot quicker to build. Perfect. So I want to show visitors for this particular series. So in order to do that, what I want to do is, again, similar to Excel, if I want to pull in all the values in my B column here, I can actually just select B. So if I just click the B, similar to what you'll see in Excel, it actually highlights the whole column for me. And if this was a live data source and we had new rows added every day or every hour, it would automatically pull those in too. And you can see in the formula bar, so it says the @ symbol, and you can see in the hints down here, the @ symbol is basically referencing a data source. So because we only have one data source, it's easy. Once you start adding multiple data sources, that @ symbol is used to basically tell your formula what data source are we using first, and then after that, which part of or what data do we want to pull in from that data source. Perfect. So again, this looks great, and you can see in our preview we start to have some bars here, so that's awesome. The one thing here that we needed to look at is this 0 value. So we don't have an actual 0 value in our column. The reason that's happening is because we have a column header. So the column header is being pulled in here, but because it's not a number, it's showing us 0. So I don't want to have that in my bar chart. I want to take that out. But I like highlighting my whole column. I just think it's a best practice. I mean, if I wanted to, I could click and drag and just select the numbers that I want. But again, if this was a live data source, it wouldn't pull anything under B7. So as a best practice, let's select the whole column, and I'll just show you a simple way to use what we call the slice function just to easily get rid of column headers. So the slice function, basically what I want to do is put my cursor before the formula here, or what I have selected so far, because I want to add a function before it. So the slice function I'm talking about, you're going to get really familiar with it because basically its main purpose, or the purpose we use it most for, is to slice out column headers. So anytime you want to add a function, you can hit the insert button and you can hit function. This will actually bring up a list of all functions in alphabetical order. As I said, ours is called slice. So once you hit whatever function you want to use, so we're using slice, it'll actually use this pop-up, which is great. So if it's your first time using the function, it'll kind of give you examples of how it can be used or what it should really look like up here. Now the slice value kind of has two purposes. So the first purpose is to return a subset of values between the start and end positions. So let's look at what the actual whole formula looks like, or function. So we have slice, our values, which we already have here, and then a start and end section. So again, returns a subset of values between start and end. So basically, if I put a cell here and then a cell in my end, it'll kind of filter out anything before or after. So that's one way to slice. But let's say I just want to use slice to remove a column header. Basically, what I have to do is leave out start and end. So I'm going to leave start and end blank. So you can see down here, remove the header cell from a column. This is what it looks like. So slice, our value, but then we're leaving start and end blank. So for me, if I just press enter, it will automatically close that bracket off for me. And then we can see how our bar has changed. So now we don't have that 0 value anymore because we've sliced out the column header. Perfect, so that's all I wanted to do for that particular bar. Now let's say I wanted to add a second series, and this one could be for visits. So again, I'll start in properties. I'm going to just go through this again. I think it's great to kind of see things twice, so I'm going to put a label in, leave it as a bar. Again, I personally like to show the values, and then if I wanted to override the color, I could change it to like a red or something. So now if I go back to data, so I'm going to go through all that again. Again, I just want to make sure that you're able to really understand how it works. So we're going to select our whole column here, so our visits column. But again, let's look at our preview. So our red column, everything shifted over to the right. That's because our column header is included. So remember, to get rid of that, we're going to use that slice function. Now for this, once you get familiar with using functions, you can actually start to type right into the formula bar. So I know I want to use slice, so let's say I started typing out the word slice. So you can see it starts to return different functions that match the letters that you put in. So if I just press enter, because it's highlighted over slice right now, it'll automatically, it auto-populates that function for me, which again saves me time. And because I know that leaving the start and end values blank, so just keeping those with 0 values, it'll take off my column header. So if I press enter one more time just to close off that bracket here and finish this whole formula, now you can see in my preview everything works. So that 0 values, that column header is now disappeared, and everything lines up perfectly with our visitors column, or with our visitors bar chart, sorry. Perfect, so I'm done with my series, so that's great. So now I'm going to move to my x-axis. Now for my x-axis today, I want to use the A column, so we're going to show continents. So basically, we're going to use the exact same formulas we've just used. You know, we're going to pull in all the data from, or so we're going to use the whole column here. So I want to select all of A, but to make sure everything lines up, we have to remove this column header. Now just to show you another way that this can work is, if I go back to the previous series, so my visit series, because I know I want to use this formula basically over and over again, I can come here and I can actually copy it and paste it. So if you highlight your whole formula, on your keyboard, you're going to press Control-C or Command-C if you're a Mac user. And then if we go back to our x-axis, now I can press Control-V or Command-V for paste. And if I press Enter, that pastes everything in. So you can see it changes. But right now we're looking at the wrong column, right? Well, that's no problem. This is actually super easy to change. All I have to do is basically click on that portion of the formula and just change it. So instead of C, we want to look at A. And there you go. Again, in our preview, you can see how things change. So using copying and paste, I use it all the time. It saves a lot of time, especially if you start to build really long formulas. Copy and paste it, and then you can start to change little portions of it. So just like we did here. Excellent, so that's all I'm going to do with this bar chart, so that's exactly how I want it to look. Now let's just say I also wanted to see the total visitors and total visits. So right now I kind of have to, I basically have to come in here and add all these numbers up to find out the total. But that doesn't make sense. So let's say I wanted to show the total in this particular clip. What I would probably do is use something like a value pair. So I just want it simple, like a number up top and then a nice label. So again, anytime you want to bring a component in, you can drag and drop it. But for me, I want to have 2 of these side by side. So I want one to show the visitors and then one to show the visits. But remember, I can only put above or below. That's where a layout grid comes in handy. So it's at the very top here. A layout grid basically will allow us to be really particular about where we want components to go. So now I can put a value pair there and a value pair on the right, just like I said I wanted to before. Awesome. And then if you want to get super fancy, scroll down to the bottom. You're going to see the separator. So really the separators are just kind of like lines that separate your components. So it's more of a visual design thing. So I could add a vertical separator. I could make it dashed lines if I wanted to. And if I wanted to have one here, again, I can use dashed lines. I can keep this one horizontal. Now, if I wanted this to go across all 3 columns here, like one nice line, I can just go to that Layout tab and make it span across all 3 columns. Perfect. So now I can work with my 2 new value pairs. So I want to keep them on the same side. So for this one, I'll show total visitors, and then I'll show total visits on the right. Now for the smaller font, which is our secondary value, basically I'm just going to put a title here. So again, in our hints, you can see that anytime you want to add a string or a text, you just have to put it within quotation marks. So for me, within the quotations, if I just write total visitors and press enter, it's just that easy. So perfect, that's all I have to do there. And I can do the same over here. So make sure you put quotations, and then I can write total visits. Perfect, so now I want to show total visitors. So pretty simple. What I'm going to do is start by highlighting my whole visitors column. So just like we did before, let's highlight it all. But as best practice, let's slice out that column header. So slice, and again, if I press enter, close off that bracket. So now we have our slice B column. So if you ever want to evaluate what you have, is you can press Alt-A, or you can use this menu button over to the right and press Evaluate. Now that will show you everything highlighted in blue. Basically, it'll show you the results from that. So from our Slice B column, these are our 6 results. So that matches up perfectly with our bar chart, which is great. That's exactly what we want. So now what we want to do with this is we want to add all of these up. So we want to add all these numbers up to show us one value, which is the total visitors. So again, similar to Excel, we have a function called the sum function. So if I just start typing in sum, you can see that shows up, so I can press enter. And then again, all I have to do is press enter one more time to close off that bracket. And there we go. So now you can see the total visitors from all continents. So just to highlight, we have sum, so we've added our Slice B column. So our B column without that column header. So if you want to do the same thing over in visits, again, if you want, we can copy and paste this whole formula over and just change the column we're looking at. Or I'll show you a different way we can do it, is we can reference a component. So in here, I'm going to just take away what we have. And this is a different way of kind of doing like copy and paste. So I can use what we call a component reference, and I can actually reference a different part of my clip. So because I want to show total visits, I'm going to reference my visits series. So if you remember, in our visits series, we did slice and then our C column. So I can kind of show you here if we evaluate this. So if you evaluate just our component reference, this is what it gives us as result. So basically it's giving us a slice of our C column. So again, it's basically the exact same as like copying and pasting slice and then our C column. So it's just another way that you can do it. And then here, what I have to do now is just sum. So I can press sum, and then again, enter one more time to close out that bracket. And there we go. So we get the exact same result here. Perfect. So that's all I wanted to do with this particular clip. So we have our nice bar chart. So you've learned how to get started with a component like a bar chart, and you can see how to add multiple components to one clip. So I'm going to save this clip. So I'm going to hit the save button. This will take you through the saving process. So you can name it, describe it, and then share it with groups right from here. And then once you're done with that, you're going to hit the finish button, and this clip will be added right to your dashboard. There we go. Now remember, you can always change the size of your clips. You can pull it larger if you want to, just however you want it to look. Now before finishing off in the actual demo part, I just want to quickly go over a few more sharing options. So sharing is really important in Klipfolio. So I'm going to show you different ways to actually share your data. So we can share clips or dashboards in different ways. So let's say I wanted to share this individual clip. What I'm going to do is use the menu button here and then go down to the second option, which is share. So there are actually 4 ways to share individual clips. Number 1 is to share with groups. So we've gone over that already. You can email a clip. So what this will allow you to do is either send one-off email. So I can put multiple email addresses in, and the clip will be shared as a screenshot within an email. Or in here, it's really cool, is I can set up a reoccurring email schedule. So I can have those same 5 or 10 email addresses, but then what I can do is set up like Monday and Wednesday at 8 a.m. I want this to go out. So I can actually set that up in Klipfolio. We also have the option to embed, so you can get the embed code and put the clip anywhere on your site if you want to. With this, basically what it does is it updates every 3 hours. So you get 8 updates in a 24-hour period. Now the 4th way to share, which isn't shown here because I haven't actually set up the integration, is sharing with Slack. So if you're a Slack user, what you have to do is go to your account and then settings and general settings. So account, settings, and general settings. And you're going to see that there's a Slack integration. So if you actually enable that Slack integration, so you just have to basically sign up with your Slack account, you'll see the Share with Slack option available here as well. That will allow you to actually share this clip, again, as a nice screenshot with an individual or a group or a channel inside of Slack. So that's how you share individual clips. And then if you want to share a whole dashboard, you're going to use that same menu button and share. So again, in here we have 4 options. So sharing with Slack is one. You can email a dashboard. You can share with groups. And then the 4th way is to publish a link to your dashboard. So we have 2 types of links that you can publish, so either private dashboard links or public dashboard links. A bit of a difference between the two. So private dashboard links basically will give you a URL that you can share with people outside of Klipfolio. Private dashboard links are great because they're not indexed by Google, so you can't find them in a Google search. And there's an extra password protection here, so the person will have to have the URL, but they'll also have to have the actual password to see that data. Now, everyone has one private dashboard link included in their account, and then the higher up account type you have with us, the more free private dashboard links you get, but you can always purchase these as well. Also, one more thing about private dashboard links is up to 100 people at a time can view the dashboard. Public dashboard links are a bit different. So first of all, they're free for everyone inside Klipfolio. No password protection here, and they are indexed by Google. So you just want to be a little more careful about the type of data that you share. So I wouldn't share financial data through a public dashboard, but everything else is, again, really easy to share here. So you can have the name, you can choose either light or dark theme, and then when you hit publish link, you can actually share this exact URL with people who either have Klipfolio or don't have a Klipfolio account. And then when they put that in their tab, they'll actually be able to see the live version of your dashboard. So again, really, really cool way to share your data. Excellent. So that is all I wanted to do within the dashboard. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly go back to our presentation here. And I want to finish off just by talking about 4 different resources that I think you should use to help expand your skills inside Klipfolio. So the first resource is our success team. We have an amazing success team here at Klipfolio who are always happy to help. We have free email support, so success@klipfolio.com. We also have the chat option available either on the website or in the actual dashboard itself. So if you ever have a question, again, feel free to reach out. We're going to be more than happy to help you out. Number 2, so second resource I like to mention is our knowledge base. So I mentioned this earlier on, but we have an amazing docs team here who's put together this entire knowledge base that has hundreds of articles that will help you get over any challenges or hurdles you might have and help you learn how to really use the dashboard the way it should be used and help you start building some really custom clips. Third is our dashboard journey guide. So the URL is just at the top here. Now this is a resource that the marketing team put together basically to help guide you through articles and videos in a nice smooth way, so you can go from a beginner 101 level all the way up to 301 type of content. So that's another resource I highly recommend. And lastly, our YouTube channel. So we have a great YouTube channel here at Klipfolio, youtube.com/Klipfolio, and in there you'll find dozens of videos that again will take you through tutorials and help you learn how to build custom clips.